Willkommen zurück zu einer weiteren Folge Eternal Strands. In der letzten Folge haben wir leider einen Gefährten verloren, oder eine Gefährtin besser gesagt, weil wir herausgefunden haben, dass das Auge einfach mal jemanden von der Wogenbrut gefangen hält. So, jetzt sollen wir aber mit Oria sprechen. Das machen wir. Keine Zeit verlieren. Was hat sie zu sagen?
Hey.
Hey.
How do you feel?
Okay now. But it was a touch and go for a while. Lane will probably never forgive me. For that matter, I might not either.
I knew that fight. The spindle, giving her life like that. It'd be on your mind all night. How could it not? And I've been mulling over what to tell you this morning. I had a speech planned, but you don't need a speech. You're like me. It'd ring false. So I'm going to tell you what I'd need to hear after something like that. You did good. It was an awful situation, but you stood up and did what needed to be done without hesitating. Not many people have that kind of grit.
I can't shake the feeling that if I had done something more, the spindle would still be with us.
She made her choices same as you. She was a weaver, and we do whatever it takes. Look, I know you, Bryn. You're made of stern stuff. You've the mountains in your bones. Any sense of doubt or being shaken is just snowfall. Temporary, and it'll slide off soon.
That was the part you practiced, right?
Yes. But that doesn't make it less true.
Okay. Okay. Thoughts on what we do next? We obviously need to deal with that beast. But where to start?
We need to get everyone together. Our band, Arakim too. And I want you to call the meeting.
Me?
Yes, you.
Ja, dann versammeln wir den Zirkel um den Schirm. Aber was mit ihm hier? Warum muss ich mit ihm reden?
Do you know what's amazing?
Tell me.
Digging into the past and salvaging relics that change your understanding of everything we do. Maybe this is old hat for you because you've been free to do it for so long.
I haven't been doing it that long, but I can't imagine it will ever get old.
Well, good. So, our relics of the day are those scries we recovered, which work very much like yours, which demolishes my original bet on ours having been affected by this surge somehow. My best guess now is that they're working so well because they were packed up so tight. I floated the idea with Dharm and he was pretty into it. Want to join me in following up?
Oh, don't need me to do the asking this time?
No. I'm getting the hang of this.
Okay, was will er schon wieder von Damen?
It's good you're here, Bryn. We have a mystery to solve.
A scrinundrum. Ah, no, that doesn't work.
Scriddle?
Ah, damn it. That's so much better.
You two are fun. To business, though, what we need to really work on the scries is a new set of the tools I use to maintain ours.
Do you not have them?
Lost in our mad dash through the veil. I hadn't felt the urgent need to replace them just yet, but if we're to compare and contrast our three classes of scry, we'll need them.
We haven't needed these tools until now?
Like most Enclave enchantments, the scries are incredibly durable. I normally maintain ours every few months. We had more pressing matters at hand, until this mystery reared its head.
What exactly do these tools involve?
They are so very fiddly. Small optics for examining the casing, tiny enchanted ones to target the patterns that form the images and keep the sound clear. That sort of thing. Like tuning an instrument?
Could we not borrow some from Eric's people?
I tried. I would consider their tools insufficient to our needs.
He's saying they're bad.
I'm saying they're bad, but politely.
This is usually the part where I find myself wrestling a giant lizard or something. So you might as well just tell me now.
Bryn, you never fail to cut to the heart of the matter, but I have good tidings. We need you to pick a flower.
A flower? That's it?
Not quite. It's from a plant renowned for its magical sensitivity called Mirian's Bloom.
And the tricky part, Dom was telling me, is that it can't be moved via any kind of teleportation. No loom gates and such.
Indeed, and complicating matters, it withers very quickly once picked. Lane and I can stabilize it, but we'll need our workstations here to do so, which means...
I'm going to have to run.
Pretty much. Sorry about that.
I'll just stretch extra. Do we know where I can find some?
Yes, in the swamp not too far from here, on the other side of the hollow.
Sounds like a plan.
Schirmwartung. Das wird ja wohl eine absolute
I've sacrificed everything.
Katastrophenmission, oder? Ich hoffe, das ist keine Hauptmission. Nee, das ist keine Hauptmission. Gott sei Dank. Oder Gefährtenquest, okay.
Still can't believe she's gone.
Her death.
Wir machen erstmal weiter mit der Hauptmission.
I know everyone's up in their heads right now, but we have real problems to solve. So let's clear the air.
Are you running this discussion then? She is.
Sev, this has to start with you. We knew you were working with the Eye. We told you we'd have your back. Help us understand what happened. Just breathe, Sev. Start from the beginning.
I'm sure Bryn and Sola told you all. But I belong to an order called the Norians. We're sometimes called the Watersmiths. Imagine my surprise to learn our talents had been critical to the construction of the tapestry. Our order binds us to always help another Norian. Especially a high-ranking one like Stanild. And to keep their secrets.
So that's how he sunk his claws into you.
Why is the Order so secretive?
We've always been critical to the survival of Taza. Water is life in the desert, and we control the flow of water. The Elders have a secret political chokehold on the kingdoms. The altruistic Norians will tell you the secrecy is so no one can undo our work. But I have my doubts. And so, the Order operates in the shadows. I imagine they were much the same here in the Enclave.
What did Stanild have you doing?
It was all work on repairing the Grand Gate. He'd heard about our success with the gate in the Hollow and felt I might be able to replicate it. Thanks to your help, I was able to do so. And he took me more into his confidence as a result.
Did you leave the Norians to become Sola's apprentice?
One never really leaves the Norians. Not with their life. If word got out about me betraying Stanild, I'd be a dead ram walking. But no. My people have a ritual known as Ram Bralem. It is a time to pursue another path. And Sola was kind enough to accept me for mine.
It's true. I knew it could be temporary, but was hoping you'd stay on after.
The most important thing is whether we can trust you.
Yes, Sev. Convince us.
I swear, nothing I did was intended to cause harm. Too many of my order are political animals. But there is real good to be found among the Norians. Craftspeople who just wish to perfect their art. To bring water to people in need. To experiment, but need the resources to do so. Unfortunately, too many of those resources are controlled by people like Stanild. They're all the same. They see a point of control, water, information, wealth, and they abuse it. I thought the secrets were a necessary evil for some great purpose, but seeing his chokehold on the Enclave It's stagnation. You all have every right to distrust me. I am sorry. No more secrets. I just can't do it anymore.
If you can't be a Norian, then what are you?
If you'd have me, I'd like to stay.
Those of us who have been here longer than Sev. Thoughts?
He's a great apprentice. And did what was right in the end.
Still wasn't quick enough.
We need him. He's been exposed to Kenric Stanald's plans, and that knowledge may be critical.
When I was going through it, you all pulled together to help me.
You are all heard. And I would add that you joined us under false pretenses, Sev. You had loyalties outside the band you never disclosed.
I have a hard time accepting that he kept so much from us, but shared so much with the Eye. Who knows what Stanild, or gods help us, the Talon heard about us? Only time will tell how much damage that's done.
Lane, I hear you and I understand. Sev has real work to do to rebuild trust. Only you can decide when the apology feels real to you. Sev, that considered, you have worked tirelessly since joining us, and demonstrated an enterprising spirit and deftness as a smith. And before the blade could completely fall, you risked all by blocking it with your own hand. You can never be a Norian again. I do not sense that you wish to be. And who are the Weavers but a group of outcasts and misfits, just trying to muddle through together? You will stay, and you will help. We have work to do. Tell us about Stanild's plan.
Thank you, Horia.
I won't dance around it. The situation we face is not good. The Surgeborn are more strategic than we could have imagined. Now, we have no idea what they're planning, but we do know that they can plan. That's our edge. But here's our challenge. That Talon. It spoke. It knew things it couldn't know about us. We're on the back foot and need to catch up fast.
Then let me, as Horia said, help. After I repaired the gate, Stanild took me completely into his confidence. He'd been questioning and learning from the Talon, or so he thought.
Not realizing he was being manipulated.
He was increasingly estranged from his daughter. I'd wager he was desperate for a friend.
I'd agree. Based on what he'd learned from the Surgeborn from his friend, he put together a plan.
Use my people as a distraction to pull the bulk of the Surgeborn out of the underworks. All while he used the gate to... what?
There is a place, deep underground, known as the Source. A feat of engineering unparalleled. It's the secret to the Enclave's power. The abundance of magic. The heart of the tapestry. The thing powering the Veil. There was only a single loom gate still connected to the Source after Asylum cleared all connections. And I'm the one who repaired it.
The Grand Gate would take him right to the heart of things then.
Exactly.
Stanild thought he could... what? Sneak down there and fix things somehow? Tear down the Veil?
His hope was to go down and secure a working space, sealed off from the distracted Surgeborn. He wants to eventually fix things with the help of the Spindle. All glory to his family.
That arrogant idiot.
He'd read in his personal archives there was a system designed to shut down the Source. In the hopes of discovering how it worked, he had been feeding information to the Spindle about it in drips.
Meaning she might have been working on a fix for the Source without knowing it.
Then we have to pursue her research, clearly.
Good. But we still have the problem Stanild never saw coming. A great Surgeborn.
Which almost certainly will be unkillable if it operates like every other Surgeborn. It's hard to imagine any place more full of tangles than a literal source of the magic that's overflowing.
On that, I have an idea. If I'm right, we might be able to turn the tables and remove its advantage. I'll need Bryn's help if that's all right with everyone.
Of course. If it gives us a chance, we have to take it.
I agree.
Has anyone just thought to ask the Talon?
What would we ask it? Favorite color? Favorite way to disembowel Ashar?
No, she's right. It has clearly demonstrated an interest in Bryn. Maybe she could pry some information out of it.
I'm not sure I'll get much. But I'm also sure I'm not going to think it's my friend. So, worth exploring?
Then we have a path forward. Sev will pursue his thoughts on dealing with that beast.
My people have started calling it the Herald.
Of destruction? Doom?
Why not both? As I said, people are on edge.
Fine. Sev pursues weakening this herald. We work with the Axle to look into the Spindle's latest research. And if she feels like it, Bryn has a chat with our imprisoned Surgeborn.
As good a path forward as we are going to find. Let's call it here and get to work.
Sprich mit Darm über seine Suche in den Trümmern beim großen Tor. Und mit Sev anscheinend.
I appreciated your candor in the meeting, Sev.
It was terrifying. Wasn't sure I'd be allowed to stay. You didn't get to voice an opinion with the others. Are we...
All circumstances aside, you saved the day. Solar and I said we had your back, and it paid off. Quick thinking having the scry open.
I knew something was wrong the moment that thing started talking to me when Stanild wasn't around. It was very focused on you.
Me?
So much so that it said the only way the plan would succeed was if you talked to it. It reeked of trap. I didn't survive a decade around Tarzan Norians without picking up when someone's holding a knife behind their smile.
But you still took me down there.
Sorry. An educated risk. I felt there was nothing it could do and wanted the whole band to hear it talk. I don't think it understood we have the scry.
And Stanild wouldn't use one, of course.
The Talon was his deepest secret. Whom would he tell?
Can you tell me more about Stanild's plans for once he went through the Grand Gate?
He was counting on Isla. She was exceptional at protective fields. But even then, no. I don't think he had a real plan. The Talon had convinced him he'd be able to survive, and fool that he was, he trusted it. We can't afford that mistake. But I have a theory. You know how the weather sometimes skews wildly hot and cold?
Right. The aeroliths.
What else do we see on similar cycles?
Miasma.
Exactly. So, it follows.
You think the aeroliths are able to affect raw magic somehow?
I do. And in Stanild's private records and designs. I found notes specifically on aeroliths with Norian commentary.
You think the Norians were involved in their creation?
It would certainly explain why Tarza had such access to aeroliths before the Surge. If I'm right, this might be the key to making the source survivable.
Fewer tangles means less dead me. Absolutely. Where do we start?
You'll need to head to the Watersmith area of the Institute, and I'll guide you from there.
Nee, das machen wir nicht. Wir folgen jetzt nur noch der Hauptquest. Das zieht sich nämlich ganz schön in die Länge hier alles.
I examined the wreckage at the Grand Gate after everything that transpired there.
Found something useful?
A kinetic strand, in fact. The Ark must have torn it from the Herald's pattern in the chaos of the battle.
Think we could weave it into my mantle?
I don't see why not. Its pattern appears to be quite similar to those found on wild creatures and Archons.
All right. We need every advantage.
Then let's get to work.
Wie, wir können einen neuen Faden reinweben? Krass.
And we're finished. This will be quite the powerful addition to your mantle.
How so?
This strand can twist kinetic magic into a tunnel. In battle, you could push debris or enemies through it and send them flying through the air quite forcefully.
Could I jump through it?
I suppose you could.
Hey, there's a lot of tall buildings, flying creatures. This is going to be great.
You're right. Just try to be careful.
Ich kann mir gerade noch nicht so wirklich vorstellen, was für einen Sinn das haben soll und ob das so einfach zu handhaben ist. Aber gut. Wir haben eine neue Kinetik-Magie. Solar. Oh, wir können das herstellen. Ach ja, das war die Nebenquest, die brauchen wir nicht.
Bryn, would you...
Check on Sev? Always. But how are you holding up?
I'm alright. Just worried about him, you know? He did the right thing in the end, and he seems to have come back to us for now, but all those issues that led him to the Eye in the first place, they aren't solved in a day.
He needs us now more than ever.
Exactly.
Gut. Next Mission. Mach dich im Ramonos-Kanal im Institut auf, die Suche nach norianischen Dokumenten. Und sprich in Cassidians Festung mit der Achse. Das machen wir zuerst. Jasmine will noch reden.
So, about all that stuff I had you bring me. Turns out I don't need it as much as I thought I did when I was sleep-deprived and strung out.
Funny how much clarity comes from a nap.
Yeah. Anyway, I've put all those materials back in your chest. Along with a few other things Aurea and the band found cluttering the caravan.
Wow. Thanks, Kaz.
Don't mention it. Use it for whatever you want. Gear, weapons, fixing up the camp.
Was? Dann müssen wir nochmal zur Schmiede. Vielleicht lohnt sich das ja jetzt. Aha. Umschmieden. Drachenschuppe. Hier, sowas. Höllenpfeil. Aber es reicht bestimmt wieder mal nicht, um mein Schwert abzugraden. Das wäre ja mal ganz geil, ne? Eigentlich. Aber Waffenkraft. Ist schon nett. Wunderlein. Könnte man das da reinpacken? Hat genau dieselben Werte trotzdem. Kälteresistenz. Okay. Verbessern. Oh, das kann man verbessern. Und dann hört es auch schon wieder auf. Mit Verbesserungen hier. Okay. Da ist nix. Einmal mit Oya sprechen.
I'm sorry.
For what?
You saw through the eye from the start, and I doubted you when I shouldn't have.
I have experience dealing with slimy, over-promising leaders, so foresight was on my side there.
I'm serious. I didn't realize he was capable of this.
No one could have predicted he would be manipulated so thoroughly. That level of incompetence is hard to foresee.
The Eye is the highest position of leadership within the Enclave. The most progressive place in the Maida.
One we've been told stories of our entire lives. It's become mythic.
The more time we spend here, the more I realize that those were practically fairy tales. I allowed myself to be blinded by his title. I need to be sharper next time. Hey, mind if we talk somewhere private?
Lead the way.
I won't be returning to expeditions. I've known for a while now, but I couldn't bring myself to admit it. My days as Point are over.
I thought you were recovering from your injury.
Not as well as I should be. That I got injured at all was a sign that I'm not as fast as I used to be. I should count myself lucky. Not many Points get a career this long, but I'm not ready for this to end. Especially here, of all places. What kind of legacy is it to reach the Enclave only to sit by the fire?
But you've had an incredible career. And it isn't ending just because you can't go on expeditions.
I know, but it's not the same. And some part of me was hoping to end on a big score. I thought if I found out who my father was, if he turned out to be some great weaver like my mother, it's silly.
Tell me.
I thought I could solidify my legacy in history. Make sense of what my own contributions have been, if anything at all.
You're an incredible weaver in your own right. You don't need impressive parents to prove that. And if you had to pick your last act as Point, isn't finding your way into the Enclave the biggest score of all? You're everything I want to be.
That's very kind. Maybe in time I'll make peace with what my career has been. But for now, it's too raw.
Is there anything I can do?
Unless you can give me a few years back. This is grief I'll need to sit with for a while.
I understand. I wish there was something I could do to help Aurea see herself the way I see her. Lane knows a thing or two about recording legacies.
So, hier schon wieder zu Lane zurück. Die kommen hier nicht wirklich vorwärts, ne? Weil die immer nur alle quatschen.
Lane, I was wondering if you could help me with something.
What is it?
Well, it turns out Aurea's search for her father wasn't just about finding her family.
Crusades into one's lineage rarely are. Let me guess. She didn't find the missing piece of herself that she hoped she would, and now she's having an existential crisis.
Yeah, that kind of sums it up.
It happens. So, what has all this really been about?
She knows she needs to retire, and she's struggling with what her legacy has been.
Ah, isn't it strange how the most accomplished people never seem to recognize their own success?
Yeah, I was hoping you could help with that. After all, isn't chronicling a legacy your specialty?
We could certainly commemorate her career with a written account. A lovely idea. I would suggest we personalize it with anecdotes from each of our traveling companions, as they've been in Aurea's band longer than you or I. Would you interview them for me. Legacies may be my specialty, but you might have the leg up when it comes to connecting with others.
Sure, I can do that. Any tips on what to ask them?
Ask whatever you like. Maybe you want a few humorous stories in the mix? Or some readers prefer heartfelt. Why don't I start by interviewing you?
Me?
Of course, we'll need your input. What has Aurea meant to you?
Before Aurea, I didn't really have much of a mentor when it came to weaving. Sure, I picked up things from my old band, but she takes passing on knowledge so seriously. And her love of our culture comes through in how she teaches.
Great. I'll transcribe that and start her biography. Take notes when you speak to the others and come back to me.
Ich glaube nicht, dass wir das jetzt tun werden, oder? Aber was ist eine Mission? Ist eine Mission. Und es ist eine Hauptmission.
You know, a lot of points struggle with transitioning into a Watcher's role full-time. And there's never been a point more passionate than Aurea.
I know. I hope this eases her pain.
I'm sure it will. Now, what can I do to help?
What do you think makes Aurea such a strong leader?
She listens to her weaver's input when needed, yet remains decisive when a consensus can't be reached. The band I traveled with before fell apart due to disagreements over what our goals should have been. It was a difficult and tumultuous time in my career. I never wanted to live through that again.
I can relate. Traveling with Aurea is a completely different experience to my last band too.
She has a clear vision for her band, and she chooses people that share her goals. Even when conflict arises, it doesn't last long, and Aurea can diffuse it quickly. That's because we can all trust that one another's intentions are good. Leading a weaver band is half the battle. Now, picking the weavers? That's the tough part.
Thanks for sharing, Dom.
I haven't known Aurea for as long as the others, but she's done a lot for me. I'd like to help with your project if I can.
Of course, Sev.
What do you want to know?
What drew you to Aurea's weaver band?
Truthfully, it was Sola. I wanted to learn as a smith's apprentice, and her craftsmanship is unparalleled. But, I suppose, something she said about her leader always stuck with me. She said that Aurea valued competence and accountability above all else. It didn't matter what your station was or where you came from. In the Norian order, station was all that mattered, along with towing the line. I don't know. I thought it would be freeing to just focus on the work for once.
I suppose getting trapped with us wasn't the freeing experience you hoped for.
In some ways, no. But it's nice to be valued for my work, instead of my ability to cover for a superior's poor behavior.
Thanks, Sev.
Glad to be of service.
Bryn, I love what you're doing for Aurea. How can I help?
What do you think Aurea's bravest moment has been?
I think she's living through it right now.
How so?
Aurea loves danger. Hunting wild creatures, delving into dark ruins, pushing the boundaries of her magical abilities. But in my opinion, moments of true courage come from facing your fears, and Aurea's never been afraid of danger. But recognizing that it's time to let go of what she loves and step down, leaving everything she's built in your hands, that takes more courage than she's ever had to muster. I don't think she could do it if it weren't for you.
Wow. Thank you, Sola.
Happy to help. That tree still ripe with inspiration, Lane?
Oh, yes. Always. Your idea to commemorate Oria's career with Lane is lovely. How can I help?
If you were to summarize Oria's influence on your life, what would that be?
Oria saved me from serious burnout with the Udean relief efforts. Not to mention, saving me from myself a second time here in the Enclave. I don't know if I'd still be here without her. Or any of you, for that matter. Anyway, the longer I worked the relief ships, the worse the fatigue hit me. And I think that had become my entire identity. Barely a few minutes into meeting me, Oria asked if I ever thought of becoming a weaver. I thought she was mad. But I guess she had observed me giving orders and organizing shipments on the docks all morning. By the end of our conversation, I had a new purpose and a home in our band.
That's perfect. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
Gut, haben wir jetzt alle. Lane, schreib den Scheiß auf und dann müssen wir weiter. Wir haben keine Zeit zu verlieren.
My hand is cramped. But the account of Oria's career is finished.
Great. I'll gather everyone if you're ready to present it.
I'll need to ice my quill hand. But, of course.
Let's hope she likes this.
She will.
What's going on?
We wanted to present the latest addition to Lane's archive to you, together. We all contributed, though credit goes to Lane for compiling and writing it.
I've titled it A True and Personal Account of Oria Silverbeak Harpinet.
What is going on?
We wanted to do something special to commemorate your time as Point.
You didn't have to do all this.
We did. You've done more for each of us time and time again.
No one is more deserving of a place in Weaver history than you, Oria.
So we took it upon ourselves to write you one.
As a thank you for everything.
I don't know what to say.
Lane, why don't you read just the opening?
Oria Silverbeak, as she came to be known, was born to Sharian Harpinet and Eugenius Osphine inside the Enclave just before the Surge.
Osphine.
Though she never knew her father, her mother hoped Oria would follow in her footsteps as a skilled enchantress within the Maida. But Oria decided to become a Point, blazing her own trail. Something she would continue to do throughout her career, bigger and bolder each time. We'll let you read the rest on your own.
We hope this account will help you see yourself and your accomplishments the way we see you.
I'm at a loss. All I can say right now is thank you.
Die Lanze des Ruhms abgeschlossen. Aber ich glaube, da weiß jemand ein bisschen mehr über Oria. Arikim?
Bryn, I was so moved by what you did for Oria. It's clear she means a lot to all of you.
Thank you. She does.
But her father, Eugenius Osphine, I know who he is.
You do?
Yes, and I want you to make an offering for his grave. I can give you a key swatch to reach it.
Wait, you know where it is?
I do. And I'm sure Oria would love to watch you visit on the scry.
Okay, but shouldn't we tell her?
Trust me, this is something you should show her directly. Come back when you've got the offering and I'll give you the key swatch.
Entwurf Grabschmuck. Okay, also muss ich jetzt erstmal was schmieden oder was? Farbschmuck. Orias Feder. Hä, wo krieg ich die denn her? Und reines Serenit. Was? Wo bekomme ich die her? Bekomme ich von Oria eine Feder? Ja. Ich brauche von Oria eine Feder.
One of Oria's feathers would be beautiful as part of the offering for her father's grave.
So. Reines Serenit, aber wo bekomme ich das her? Das weiß ich nicht. Deshalb werden wir erstmal in Kassiliens Festung gehen und mit der Achse reden.
You are hardly in any position to make lofty demands. The council convened and unanimously stripped you of your role. You no longer hold the privileges of the Eye.
And how quickly did you convene that council? You hardly waited for my daughter's body to cool.
She is dead because of you. Because of your reckless behavior and deception, no less.
Hirun, how dare you? Every decision I've made, every action I've taken has been for her protection.
Abandoning her at the Grand Gate was for her protection. We all saw you on the scry. And that is Khan Arteme to you, Kenric.
Is this a bad time?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
No. You're more than welcome at Cassidon's Hold. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you.
I came to offer my condolences. To both of you.
Oh. Thank you.
Intellect can be taught, and creativity can be cultivated. But the kindness Isla embodied is rare. She helped our quartermaster through her darkest hour. I'll always be grateful for that.
She was exceptional. It's hard to imagine the Enclave will ever recover from this loss.
Then why are you so opposed to giving her the funeral she deserves?
With the Surgeborn swarming Denevron, we can't risk a trip to the Hallowpire Rise.
For generations, every Stanild has received the right of ashes upon death. Isla will not be the exception to this.
Could I perform the rite on your behalf?
You? Don't tell me you're a Hallowpire priestess on top of being a righteous pain in my ass.
Skies, do you want a funeral or not? She's our best option.
Isla saved my life. I want to help you honor her death.
I suppose you do owe her that. Fine. For the rite of ashes, you need to burn an object that was sacred to the deceased upon the high pyre. As you collect the ashes, you must read a rite aloud to thank the flames for bringing the deceased to rest.
Do you have an object that was sacred to Isla?
Isla's most prized possessions aren't in Cassidon's Hold. She had a secret refuge in Dredger's Mire. You're sure to find something. She was always sneaking away at night to work there.
You knew she was sneaking out of Cassidon's Hold.
I knew my daughter better than she realized. Return to me with the ashes.
Thank you, Bryn.
Berge die persönlichen Gegenstände aus ihrer geheimen Zuflucht in der Nähe vom Polderground im Beggarmoor. Das machen wir gleich.
Ridiculous! The Stanilds have been receiving the rite of ashes at the Hallowpire Rise for generations. That Hiram doesn't want to send a mourning party is an insult to her memory.
That's not fair. You know Khan Arteme would love to give Isla.
Don't say her name.
All I'm saying is the Axel lost someone too. You don't need to make this harder on her.
And who, pray tell, is working to ease my pain? The answer is in the silence. No one.
Gut. Hier können wir auch noch mal reden.
Hey, I can't imagine how you must be feeling.
I am broken. Everyone wants a piece of me. Regardless.
Because you're in charge.
For now. Someone had to be. I don't know how I'm supposed to carry on like this. Without her, my support is gone. My foundations crumbled to dust. She wouldn't want me to cry. So I won't.
You can if you need to. I know our Weaver band is still fairly new here, but you've got our support. All of us.
The funeral will honor her memory. Even if it's not what he wants. She would understand that it's enough. One day at a time, Bryn. That's all we can promise to ourselves.
You mentioned you were in charge. Does that mean you're the new Eye now?
So the council is larger than just the 3 main representatives. As you heard, we convened and unanimously agreed that Kenrick had overstayed his welcome in the role of the Eye. So he's been stripped of that, and by default, that means I'm in charge. Emergency authority. Am I the Eye? No. And nor do I particularly want to be right now. But when the time is right to hold elections, we'll do so. We need to break this cycle.
What cycle do you mean?
Council seats weren't permanent before the surge. That idea was Kenrick's. And it's clearly not worked out for us. So again, once we've solved this crisis, we'll chart a new path. Assuming we survive. After all, we could all be dead this time next week.
You certainly wear emergency powers of authority.
So, kann ich da jetzt rein?
You're going to speak to the Talon?
I don't expect to get much out of it, but yes.
Be careful. Clearly the Talon was able to manipulate Kenrick. And while I know you're not the idiot he is, speaking to that thing is risky.
I just have to find out what I can. If the Talon has any insight that can help us.
It's a risk worth taking, I know. Just don't reveal anything in the process.
Okay, das ist die Tür zur Klaue. Okay. Aber ich kann ja auch nichts machen, ne? Außer mit ihr reden vielleicht.
I knew you'd be back. Dreadfully predictable.
And here I thought I surprised you. Or was your herald getting kicked back to the source part of the plan?
Don't steal credit. Your great icon pushed us back, not you. And I'm quite certain it didn't survive the battle. Judging by the way you charged straight to the Grand Gate upon hearing my plan, you favor misguided heroics. Let me guess. You're going to try for a rematch.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Let's not lie to each other. I like you.
Can't say the feeling's mutual.
Come now, I want to be confidants. Friends, even.
Fine. Let's be friends. Why don't you tell me what the Surgeborn are after so I can help you get it?
I told you, don't lie to me. But because my offer of friendship is genuine, I'll tell you. I'm after the same thing you're after. Magic. And the power that comes with it.
But Surgeborn already wield magic.
Not nearly enough of it. You know the lust for magical power is insatiable. Why else are you risking everything to tear strands of it from behemoths?
I'm not power hungry.
Don't lie. Especially when your actions betray your words with such ease.
How did you end up down here anyway?
I let myself be captured.
Why?
It became apparent that I wasn't going to uncover the secrets behind the Enclave's power by razing its capital to the ground. Oh, I do miss the razing. Still, I needed intel that I could only get from the inside. So I allowed myself to be captured and waited until the leader of the Enclave came to visit me alone one day. Kenrick had influence and insecurities, making him the perfect target. He felt quite special that I only spoke to him. It helped that he assumed our herald couldn't pass through the Grand Gate when he staged his attack.
How did it get through? The resonance modulator should have filtered out Surgeborn.
You didn't have a sample of that particular Surgeborn.
Also theoretisch könnte Kenrick, der ja jetzt nicht mehr das Auge ist, runtergehen und die Klaue freilassen, was ziemlich chaotisch wäre und ein Riesenproblem für uns.
In my experience, Kenrick Stanold isn't exactly the trusting type. How did you convince him to open up to you?
I played the part of his distressed prisoner. Please, please don't hurt me. I'll do anything you ask. I'll tell you anything you want to know. Just let me live. He was all too willing to believe I was helpless. After all, that would mean he had power.
The Hearthsiders believe you were born out of the Surge. Is that really where you come from?
I will keep some secrets to myself. For now.
I thought we were friends.
Not yet. But we will be. And when that day comes, I will share more with you.
Kenrick Stanold is in rough shape after being your confidant.
I would never treat you like I treated him. You're different. Special. Trust me. In time, you'll consider us kindred spirits.
Doubt it.
See you soon.
Tja. Was hat die Klaue wirklich vor, ist die Frage. Also sie ist ja immer noch gefangen. Aber kann die wirklich irgendwas machen? So, wir sollen jetzt aber zum Polderground in Beckermore und da Sachen holen. Haben wir sonst noch irgendwie eine Mission? Und Ramanas Kanal im Institut. Gehen wir erstmal zum Polderground im Beckermore. Allerdings erst in der nächsten Folge. Bis dahin, vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Ciao!